I want to let you guys know that there's a trigger warning for this video for sexual discussion of sexual dysfunction, and discussion of masturbation. And so if anyone's not comfortable hearing about those things, you might not want to watch this video, but I think they're very important things to talk about, at least in this video, so I would love it if you kept watching with me. Hey there, it's Hoagie again. I decided I want to make updates about once a week. I bought a ring light. I want to start doing this, regularly. And I decided today I wanted to talk about things that I didn't know were dysphoria. And some of them are so obvious, like in hindsight, you think of it and you're like, that was obviously dysphoria. Like, it's so much easier to look back and realize what an egg I was. I was such a freaking egg. And it's weird because I identified as non-binary before I identified as a trans man. And so a lot of the dysphoria things I chalked up to the non-binary gender identity that I had. But now I feel like I'm fully realized and I have discovered my true self, and I realized that a lot of things weren't just, hey, I like being gender non-conforming. It's, hey, I'm a guy, So why don't we start off with the first one that happened chronologically is I was very young. I was 6 years old, and I don't remember what came before or what came after, but I remember being on my grandmother's dining room floor. I was flat on my back, and we had bought the Mulan soundtrack. It might have been a Disney soundtrack thing, and it had Reflection on it. And I loved Mulan when I saw it when it came out. And I would just play that song on repeat, and I would just sing cry to it. Like I was laying on the floor, T-posing, and just singing at the top of my lungs, crying. I was 6 years old. And I didn't know why. I didn't know why I identified so strongly with Reflection, because I was bullied in school. I had just started school, and I was getting bullied in school, and I guess I thought it was, I'm different, which is why I identify with this song, but I never really completely figured it out. I always thought, that's just some weird thing that happened when I was a kid. And now looking back on it, it's my first memory of dysphoria, because I was in it. I was singing that song. I was just in this place of, I don't feel like I'm supposed to, I don't feel myself, and I couldn't put words to it. I didn't have the language for it. I was 6 years old. So, also, I want to apologize for this ring light situation. I'm trying to fix it. I hope it's not too annoying. But when I look back on it, it's so obvious. And I told the therapist that I got my gender dysphoria letter from about this, and he was just smiling, and he was just like, yeah, that sounds about right. And it felt kind of validating. But I've never, until literally a couple months ago, associated that memory with dysphoria, but that's exactly what it was. Something that I've now realized was dysphoria happened when I was in middle school and high school. I had just gotten into choir in middle school, and I was in choir all through high school. And I started out as a soprano, and then the 4 years of high school, I went from soprano 1, soprano 2, alto 1, alto 2. And it just, I hit puberty and my voice dropped, the way that AFAB people's voices do eventually drop in some way. And I really liked being an alto. I liked being an alto and, singing the harmonies. I've always really liked that. But I always wanted my voice to be deeper. I always wanted to be a tenor. I would go to class, and I would say to myself, tenor goals, I want to be a tenor. I want to get my voice as far down as it possibly can. And I knew that, like, physically wise, I couldn't go any deeper. I was at like E flat below middle C. Is that E flat 3? That was the lowest I could get. I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to get to C below middle C. And, you know, I don't think I've gotten there yet. I haven't warmed up in 10 years, so who fucking knows? But I always thought, you know, that it would be so cool if I had a deeper voice, and I would like joke about it. And I joked to my parents. I was just like, I know that I could get my voice to be deeper if I went on testosterone, but I'm cis. So, you know, that's not going to happen because I don't really want to go on testosterone. I just want my voice to be deeper. Like, what, you egg? On to that a little bit was at the same time, like in high school, I really liked when I would draw myself and just like little doodles and stuff of myself. I would sometimes put a little mustache on myself, and I once did like a realistic portrait of myself, and then I like tried to add realistic facial hair to make it look like how I would look if I had a beard or if I had a mustache. And I thought it was really cool, and I was just like, I look awesome, you know? And it was so it's so frustrating now realizing that like I could have realized this so much sooner, but I didn't. The whole time I chalked it up to like, I'm queer, you know? Like at the time I identified as a lesbian, which is really funny because now I identify as a gay man, and that's a whole other video. But I was like, I'm queer, you know? I like breaking gender stereotypes. I like, you know, being gender nonconforming. And it didn't have anything to do with my gender. It was more like, you know, how I want to express my presentation. So ever since I was a kid, I loved dressing up as male characters, and especially for Halloween. I wanted to be Bob from the Dresden Files. I wanted to be the Doctor from Doctor Who. I wanted to be Captain Jack from Torchwood. And I, for Halloween, would often dress up as those characters. Even at school, I would go to school and I would like, you know, have my hair done differently. I had short hair at the time, and I would have makeup on to make me look more masculine, and I would have the outfit, and I would bind with ace bandages. Don't do that. That's bad. But I did that. And like I was stoked. I'm like, I look so cool. But I just thought that it was, you know, I'm gay. You know, so many things I chalked up to, I'm gay. And yes, I am gay, but it's not the gay that I thought I was, you know? But not just dressing up as a male. I wanted to be mistaken for a guy. Like, I loved it when people just around campus, I would hang out with my guy friends, and like, if it weren't for the chesticles, I probably would have passed as male. Just, I mean, not when I was talking, but just looking at me around my guy friends, I might have passed. But I loved it. I wanted so badly to be mistaken as male because I thought that that meant that I like won at gender. How do you win at gender? Now, just thinking about that, if I win at gender, I'd be mistaken for male. What does that mean? You know? And this whole time, I was just completely oblivious. I was like, this has nothing to do with my gender. This is about my expression. This is just expression. This is not gender. Which are different things, and they're still different things, and I get that, but like, it's more than that. It was more than that. All right, so this is the last one, and it's also the biggest one, and the most uncomfortable and embarrassing one. I mean, I guess it shouldn't be embarrassing, but I'm still embarrassed. This is where the trigger warning is coming in. Okay, this is if you don't want to watch the rest of this video, you don't have to. But my sexual history is interesting. I didn't masturbate until I was 20 years old. I had had sexual trauma, and it wasn't something that I felt comfortable doing until I was 20. And once I did it, it was slow going. I didn't really understand what my body liked. It was confusing, and I realized that I couldn't really find any sexual pleasure as myself. And I wasn't exactly sure why, if it was the trauma, if it was something else. And I turned to erotica. I turned to fan fiction mostly because I was in a lot of fandoms. And at the time, I was only reading MLM erotica. And I still only read MLM erotica because it's the stuff that I relate to. But at the time, as a bisexual woman, I didn't realize why I was identifying with it so much. And I was kind of embarrassed. I was like, I can't tell people this because they're going to think I'm a fetishizer. And that concerned me for a long time until I realized I can't be a fetishizer because that's my demographic. It's literally my demographic. And it really did help. Being able to imagine myself as someone else and being able to put myself in their character and in their position and not be me and not have my parts in my body. It was so freeing. It was so much easier for me to have a good time. So I have done that exclusively, and I still do that. I still do that. It's been almost 10 years and I still do that. I found that even as a bisexual, I was only ever finding sexual pleasure by imagining myself as a man with another man, which should be incredibly obvious to people and to me, but it wasn't, and I still felt, kind of shitty about it. And I want people to know that if they identify with that kind of fiction and it brings them happiness and pleasure, then maybe that's your demographic and you just don't know it yet. So I want people to know that, because if I had known that, I might have felt a little bit better about it. And in the fantasies, sometimes I had a dick, sometimes I didn't. Right now, I'm mostly just imagining myself with the effects of testosterone, because that's really all I want. I don't want bottom surgery. I mean, I might want bottom surgery in the future, but at the moment, I don't really feel like I need bottom surgery, but I would like the effects of testosterone on my nether regions. So I would imagine myself like that, and I would imagine the character like that. Like, I will headcanon any character that I project onto as trans. When I'm reading the fic, if they don't have my equipment, then I can just, substitute it in my head. But I found that being a character that is in a relationship with another character that are both men, and me being able to imagine myself in that situation, is about the only way I can find sexual pleasure right now. And I want people to realize that, like, that can be dysphoria. If that's the only stuff that you can, imagine yourself as, then maybe that's dysphoria. And it certainly was for me. And once I realized all of this, once I realized that I was a guy, and I realized that I wanted to, use he, him pronouns and be interpreted as a man and be a man because I am a man, that it made me realize all these things from my childhood and all these circumstances where I had just chalked it up to me being generally queer when it's in fact specifically gender dysphoria. Like, I'll probably realize more things in the future, most likely. I will find some picture or something and realize that I was dealing with dysphoria at the time. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. And I want to let you guys know that I'm planning on posting once a week, maybe every 9-10 days. It depends. I haven't decided what my schedule is going to be. I'd like to do it once a week. And because I have to wait a while for my appointment, which, I never told you guys, my HRT appointment is in April, and it's gonna be a while, obviously, so I decided that I would fill this space with trans-related topics until then, and then once I get the HRT appointment, I will talk to you guys about that. So, thank you for watching, and I hope that you end up enjoying the stuff that's going to be on this channel, because I find it very freeing to talk about this stuff with other people. I hope you have a great night, and I will talk to you guys later. Mwah.